The year is 362 AD. You are standing in a city where the East collides with the West. This isn't Rome, suffocating under the weight of its own dusty politics. This isn't Athens, quietly living in the shadow of its glorious past. You are in Antioch, the Queen of the East. Built on the banks of the Orontes River in modern-day Turkey, this is the third largest metropolis in the Roman Empire, boasting 500,000 people. It is the terminus of the legendary Silk Road, the staging ground for massive imperial wars, and unequivocally the Vegas of the ancient world. Using AI technology trained on the surviving texts of ancient writers like Libanius, archaeological data from the Orontes Valley, and Imperial Roman records, we have reconstructed what 24 hours in ancient Antioch actually looked like. We're going to strip away the marble ruins and plunge you into the real city, the staggering, unimaginable wealth, the fanatical religious riots, the intoxicating smells of Persian spice markets, and the dangerous political powder keg of a city that bows to no one. From dawn to midnight, this is what life was actually like as a high-ranking magistrate in the most rebellious, hedonistic city on earth. Let's step back over 1,600 years. The sun hasn't risen yet, but you are already awake in your villa halfway up the slopes of Mount Silpius. You look down over a sprawling sea of terracotta roofs, plunging into the river valley below. You are a curialis, a wealthy local city councilman, and specifically, you are the agoranomos, the inspector of the markets. The city below you is incredibly wealthy, but it is currently tearing itself apart. The Roman Emperor Julian, history will call him Julian the Apostate, is currently living in Antioch, preparing a massive army to invade the Persian Empire, and he despises this city. Julian is a strict, ascetic, philosophical pagan who wears a scruffy beard and hates luxury. The people of Antioch are clean-shaven, obsessed with chariot racing, deeply fractured between Christianity and paganism, and love to party. It is a match made in hell. You step into your private courtyard. A Greek-speaking slave wraps you in a fine, incredibly expensive tunic made of linen imported from Egypt, and drapes a wool cloak over your shoulders. You don't eat a heavy breakfast, just a piece of flatbread dipped in olive oil infused with thyme. Your mind is already racing with the impossible task ahead of you today. The emperor has arbitrarily fixed the price of grain to force the merchants to feed the poor. In response, the wealthy landowners of your own social class have hoarded their grain, hiding it in massive underground silos, causing a devastating artificial famine. Your job is to enforce the emperor's law without getting assassinated by your own friends. You step out of your villa, flanked by 2 armed municipal guards carrying wooden staves, and begin the steep descent into the urban jungle. By 7 in the morning, you reach the absolute spine of the city, the Great Colonnade. Nothing in the modern world prepares you for the sheer architectural arrogance of this street. It is a perfectly straight, marble-paved boulevard over 2 miles long, stretching from the eastern gates all the way to the western walls. But it isn't just a road. It is flanked on both sides by massive, continuous porticos, covered walkways supported by thousands of towering 30-foot Corinthian columns. It is designed so that the wealthy of Antioch can walk from one end of the city to the other, entirely protected from the sun and the rain. The noise is a physical wall hitting you. Antioch is a city of merchants. Underneath the colonnades, hundreds of shops are already open. You smell the intoxicating, sharp scent of saffron from India, mixing with the heavy smoke of burning frankincense. You hear the guttural shouts of camel drivers who have just arrived from a 6-month trek across the Syrian desert, arguing in Aramaic with Greek money changers. You see rolls of literal Chinese silk, a fabric so expensive it is weighed against solid gold, being unrolled on wooden tables. Your guards shove a path through the crushing crowd. You stop at the stall of a wealthy grain merchant. The AI reconstruction highlights the sheer tension in the air. The merchant's scales are sitting on a stone block. You pull a standard bronze weight from your leather pouch, stamped with the seal of the city, and place it on his scale. It tips too fast. His scale is rigged. He has been shorting his desperate customers. You don't shout, You don't argue, you simply nod to your guards. They smash the bronze scale with their staves, shattering the delicate mechanism, and confiscate 3 heavy sacks of wheat on the spot. The merchant glares at you with absolute venom, hissing a threat in Greek. He is a member of the city council. He knows where you live. You document the fine on a wax tablet with an iron stylus. In Antioch, you are always walking a tightrope between enforcing the law and making a fatal enemy. By 10 in the morning, the heat begins to bake the valley. You leave the shaded colonnade and walk toward the Orontes River. You cross one of the 5 massive stone bridges onto the island. The river actually splits, forming a massive island in the center of the city, and this is where Imperial power resides. Here sits the colossal Imperial Palace, currently occupied by Emperor Julian, and right next to it, sharing a wall, is the Hippodrome. You inspect the river docks. Massive wooden water wheels, called norias, groaning under the immense weight of the current, are lifting thousands of gallons of river water up into the stone aqueducts to feed the city's countless public baths. Barges are arriving from the Mediterranean port of Seleucia Pieria, just 14 miles downstream. They are unloading massive amphorae of wine from Greece and garum, fermented fish sauce from Spain. You collect the portorium, the harbour tax, calculating the complex percentages in your head while your clerk writes the receipts on scraps of papyrus. Suddenly, a massive roar shakes the very ground you stand on. It sounds like a thunderstorm, but there isn't a cloud in the sky. It is the crowd inside the Hippodrome. By midday, you finish your dock inspections and use your magistrate's token to bypass the massive crowds, entering the VIP section of the circus. The Hippodrome of Antioch can hold over 80,000 people. Chariot racing here is not a sport, it is a violent, fanatical religion. The entire city is divided into 2 factions, the Blues and the Greens. They act like modern football hooligans, organised crime syndicates, and political parties all rolled into one. You take your seat on the marble benches, shaded by massive canvas awnings. Below you, the sand of the arena is blindingly bright. 4 chariots, each pulled by 4 frantic, sweating horses, tear around the central spine, the spina. The drivers have the reins tied around their waists. If their light wooden chariots flip, they carry a curved knife to cut themselves free before they are dragged to death in the sand. The sound of 80,000 screaming Antiochians is terrifying. It is a primal, bloodthirsty roar. But today, the tension in the Hippodrome is deeply political. Emperor Julian enters his imperial box. He is dressed simply, refusing to wear the jeweled crowns and heavy silk robes of previous emperors. He sports his ragged philosopher's beard. The crowd despises him. Because of the food shortages, and because he openly mocks their lavish lifestyle, the people of Antioch decide to commit an act of unbelievable, suicidal disrespect. As the emperor takes his seat, a chant starts in the green section. It spreads to the blues. Within minutes, 80,000 people are clapping in unison and screaming insults directly at the most powerful man on earth. They chant that his beard is fit only for weaving ropes. They chant that he is a goat, not a Roman. You sit frozen in your seat. To insult a Roman emperor in an enclosed space is usually a guaranteed death sentence. The Imperial guards draw their swords, looking to Julian for the order to charge into the stands and start slaughtering. But Julian sits there, his face tight with fury, and does nothing. He is a philosopher. He will later retaliate not with swords, but by writing a bitter, sarcastic pamphlet called The Misopogon, the beard hater, mocking the city right back. You wipe the sweat from your forehead. You just witnessed the city of Antioch humiliate the ruler of the known world, simply because they felt like it. By 4 in the afternoon, the races end and the suffocating heat of the city basin becomes unbearable. You need to escape, and in Antioch, there is only one place to go: Daphne. Daphne is a massive, incredibly luxurious resort suburb located 5 miles south of the city, perched on a higher plateau. You board a small, beautifully carved wooden carriage, and your horses trot up the paved road. As you arrive in Daphne, the temperature drops by 10 degrees. This place is an architectural hallucination. It is a sprawling forest of ancient cypress trees, completely filled with dozens of natural ice-cold springs that burst from the rocks and form spectacular waterfalls. The wealthy of Antioch have built sprawling pleasure villas here, interspersed with massive public bathhouses, open-air theatres and taverns. The air smells of pine, roasting meats and expensive perfumes. Daphne is notorious across the entire Roman Empire. It is synonymous with absolute, unrestrained hedonism. It is a place of drinking, gambling, and notoriously loose morals. People travel from as far away as Gaul and Egypt just to party in the groves of Daphne. You walk toward the center of the resort, where the massive, breathtaking temple of Apollo stands. Its towering columns are made of gleaming white marble, and inside sits a colossal gold and ivory statue of the sun god. But there is a heavy, dark tension here today. Emperor Julian has been trying to restore the ancient pagan sacrifices at this temple, but he was furious to find that the wealthy locals hadn't provided any grand offerings, just a single pathetic goose brought by an old priest. Furthermore, Julian ordered the body of a Christian martyr, St. Babylas, to be dug up and removed from the grove, deeply offending the massive Christian population of Antioch. The religious Cold War in this city is threatening to go hot at any second. You ignore the politics for now. You enter one of the grand bathhouses reserved for the curial class. You spend 2 hours moving through the heated rooms, sweating out the dust of the market before plunging into an icy pool fed directly by the mountain springs. Afterward, a slave massages your aching muscles with olive oil infused with crushed rose petals. By 8 in the evening, the sun vanishes behind the mountains, and you attend a banquet in a friend's sprawling villa overlooking the waterfalls. The dining room, the triclinium, is a masterpiece. The floor is covered in millions of tiny, perfectly cut stone tiles forming a breathtaking mosaic of the god Dionysus drinking wine. You don't sit at a table, you recline on plush, semicircular couches. The food is absurdly lavish. You are served roasted flamingos, dormice rolled in honey and poppy seeds, and massive silver platters of oysters packed in snow brought down from the mountain peaks. You drink heavy, sweet wine mixed with water from the sacred springs. Musicians play the lyre and the aulos, a double reed flute, while acrobats tumble between the couches. Your fellow magistrates recline with you, laughing, completely ignoring the fact that thousands of people down in the city are starving due to the grain crisis. The disconnect between the elite and the poor in this city is an unbridgeable canyon. You eat, you drink, and you pretend that the anger of the emperor and the hunger of the mob cannot touch you up here in the sacred groves. By midnight, it is time to return to reality. You leave the intoxicating, music-filled air of Daphne and take your carriage back down the winding road toward Antioch. But as you approach the massive city gates, you don't ride into darkness. Antioch possesses something that almost no other city in the ancient world has. It has streetlights. The Great Colonnade and the major thoroughfares are illuminated by thousands of oil lamps suspended by iron chains from the porticos. The ancient historian Ammianus Marcellinus wrote that in Antioch, the brilliance of the lamps at night rivals the light of day. You ride down the illuminated, empty marble boulevards. The shops are closed, but the taverns are still spilling drunken laughter into the streets. The massive statues of gods and past emperors cast long, flickering, eerie shadows across the paving stones. The city is finally quiet, but it is a deceptive, anxious silence. As you lie down in your bed back at your villa on Mount Silpius, you feel a faint, barely perceptible tremor in the floorboards. The water in your bedside silver cup ripples slightly. An earthquake. It passes in a second, but it is a terrifying reminder. Antioch sits directly on a massive, highly active fault line. The city has been completely leveled by earthquakes multiple times in its history, swallowing tens of thousands of people into the earth in a matter of minutes. You stare up at the painted ceiling of your bedchamber, listening to the distant, endless rushing of the Orontes River. The psychological weight of living in Antioch presses down on your chest. You are sitting on a geographical fault line, a religious fault line between Christians and pagans, and a political fault line between a rebellious populace and a furious emperor. You are living in a city that generates staggering wealth, incredible beauty, and unrelenting danger in equal measure. Yet, as you drift off to sleep, you wouldn't choose to live anywhere else. Rome is a museum. Constantinople is a rigid military camp. But Antioch is alive. It is a brilliant, burning flame of culture, luxury, and defiance on the edge of the eastern desert. And tomorrow morning, when the sun rises over the Orontes, you will strap on your sandals, walk down to the magnificent colonnades, and try to keep the Queen of the East from tearing herself apart for one more day. Thank you so much for watching. This video is brought to you by the Paladin Learn History app.